There's a business model out there hidden in plain sight that I guarantee after watching this video, not only will you feel a bit silly, but you will have everything you need to build a $10,000 per month business, even if you work a 9 to 5. And actually, it works even better if you have one. And no, you don't need to be a wizard in AI like everyone seems to be preaching these days. And not only that, but you can achieve this while working 10 hours a week on the side. Now, I know this is a bold claim, but the reason I feel so confident in this is because I'm living proof. Now, I've generated over $1 million using this exact business model, and it's allowed me to quit my 9 to 5 sales job in Silicon Valley, move over to Vietnam, where I'm currently building my online business, and being able to travel to another country every 3 months. This, of course, is something I'm proud of. But what I'm even more proud of is helping my clients like Yvonne, Brandon, Sandy, and so many more who I've helped achieve financial freedom doing the exact same thing. So you might be thinking, okay, what is this? And it's monetizing what you already know. More specifically, taking the specialized skills that you've built up working in your 9 to 5 and turning them into a profitable business that runs alongside your career. Now, this can be done in 6 steps. So let's start with step number 1. Now, the first step of the process is understanding why most people overlook the skills that they have. Now, everyone's chasing these random business models from AI tools, drop shipping, Amazon FBA, but ironically, these kind of business models actually require more time, more skill, and more money. So the reason why it doesn't work for most people is because you have to learn so many new skills that by the time you learn all these things and you're only like kind of average at it, it's already been 6 months and you haven't made any money and you're stuck in your 9 to 5. But the truth of the matter is most people are sitting on a gold mine. And that's because when you're working a full-time job, you've been developing some kind of skill, some kind of craft for 2, 3, 5, 10 years. And that's a company is paying you money every single month to do this thing. So why not, instead of learning all these random skills and chasing these flash in the pan business models, why not use the skills you already have and monetize it online? Now, the truth is there are a lot of people I've talked to who have like 5 years of experience, 10 years of experience in something like marketing, operations, HR. They always had the idea of starting a business, but they never was sure like what exactly business to start. And it's funny because you would think that if you're working at a job, you would learn all the skills required to start your own business, but the truth of the matter is that you don't, because companies brainwash you into keeping you as an employee forever. So let me explain how that works. So the reason why most people cannot start a business when they've been working at a company so long is because they're missing skills. Okay. So when you look at these boxes, think of it like each box is a skill you need to start a business. And when you're working at a company, what ends up happening is you're going so deep into one skill. For example, if you're really good at email marketing, they're only going to put you in email marketing. First, you start as a person doing the work, then you start as the manager, then you go into the director, then you go into the VP. And you're always doing that one thing over and over and over and over again. And you don't know how to start your own business because you're missing all of these skills. And you kind of already know what those skills are, right? Like, if you have a valuable skill that you're selling into the market, you probably don't know how to build a personal brand. You probably don't know how to take your skills that you learn in your job and sell it for $5,000 a month to another person as an agency. So you probably don't even know how to get meetings with potential clients. And because you're lacking all of these skills, that is why you're stuck, even though you're a highly skilled individual. Now, the big realization that I usually have with a lot of my clients I work with, right, which are 9 to 5 employees who want to be entrepreneurs, is that the skill they're sitting on, the skill that they have developed over the years, that skill is actually their best chance at starting a business. So if you have some kind of skill, the way you want to think about it is you are selling a transformation, right? So when somebody works with you, whether you're providing a service, you're consulting, you're coaching, maybe you're selling an online course, right? You want to think of what is the transformation? What is the before and what is the after? So let me give you an example and a framework to think about this. So if you had a simple sentence to describe what you do and how you bring value and who you bring value to, you would use this formula. I help this specific kind of person go from this kind of problem to this result, right? The before and after, using my special process. Okay. So what is an example of this? This is actually an example from my client, Brandon, who was a VP at a construction company. And we showed him how to create an offer, sell it to the right people. And he basically made 10K the first 30 days of working with me. So this is how he would explain what he does. I help construction companies go from invisible online to booking consistent, high quality leads using LinkedIn or organic LinkedIn content systems. So essentially, he helps construction companies make content on LinkedIn. He has a special process to do it that's very easy to do. And he's just helping companies book these meetings, and they're closing deals from 5 to 50K each client that he's bringing in. And the beauty of Brandon's offer is that he's been working in this construction business for like 15 years, and he's a VP. So he climbed the ladder, right? And he just only after 15 years figured out, hey, why don't I just take the skills that I've been doing at my job, which is like sales and marketing, and now he's getting into content creation. And why don't I just sell it as my own agency and just help other companies do the same exact thing I'm doing at my job? And it's like he was always sitting on a gold mine, and he just didn't know like how to package it, right? And he's doing this all while having a full-time job. So he essentially, like doubled his income just because he took those skills and did it on the side, right? While working that 40-hour day job. So here's what I want you to take away from this video. You don't need to quit your job. You don't need to start from zero, and you already have the business you've been searching for. It's the skill you've been sitting on and perfecting for years. All you need now is a clear system to turn that skill into an offer, build your personal brand around it, and learn how to sell it the right way. And this is exactly what we do inside FounderX. Now, if you're ready to finally stop watching everyone else win and start building the business that gives you control of your time, your income, and your future, click the link in the description and apply directly to work with me and my team. We're gonna help you package your skill, attract high-paying clients, and build your first $10,000 per month business, even if you're starting from scratch. So link is in the description to book a call with me, and I will see you there. So now I'm going to introduce you to the $10,000 per month business model. Now, a lot of people I work with, typically their goal, usually they'll be like, oh, my goal for the end of the year is to make $10,000 per month, because it's good money. You can make a living off it. You have freedom if you're working online, and you can quit your 9-to-5 job, right? Now, some people, they do both because they want a dual income, but other people, they just hate their jobs and they want to move on, right? So let's go ahead and show you this model. Now, I call this the skill to brand system. Basically taking your skills, turning it into a brand, and signing high ticket clients. So how is this going to work? Now, the first one we're going to talk about is going to be the offer clarity. What you want to do first is identify a specific problem that your skill can solve. So if you're good at sales and marketing, you help other companies with their sales and marketing, and you help them make more money, right? Other people, I do coaching. So they might be, I used to be a tech sales rep, and now I want to coach other people on how to get a high paying tech sales job, right? That's a problem to be solved because a lot of people don't know how to get a job. And if you help them do it, they will pay you money. Now, second thing is the personal brand engine, which is really just creating content and using content like LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Instagram to attract inbound leads and get people to come your way. But not only that, when you have a personal brand and you reach out to people cold, they're going to Google you, they're going to look at your YouTube channel, they're going to look at your LinkedIn, your Instagram, and they're going to see whether or not they should take a meeting with you. And if you have good stuff, they will take the meeting. Now, finally, it's going to be the sales system, right? Which is just learning how to sell people on the call. That's the easiest way to get started if you're trying to sell a client, let's say from 2 to 5K, right? Just start. Because when you talk to them on the phone, you connect with them as a human, and then you can convince them to buy. And if you cannot sell them on the phone, you're probably not going to be able to sell them on a landing page or in the DMs, right? Like getting them on a Google Meets or a Zoom call, it's the best way for a beginner to sign a high ticket client. Now, when you look at the holistic view of the skill to brand system, it's pretty much like a flywheel. You're gonna start at the top, which is having crystal clear clarity on what your offer is. Then once you have an offer, you can create content to attract people to your offer, right? So a lot of people will try to build a personal brand, they sell something after, but it doesn't work because you're not attracting who you want to sell to. So why not on day one have an offer and then create content to get people to come to you, and then you sell them, right? So that's how my clients can make money on the first 30 days of working with me, because we're very specific on who we're targeting and what we're gonna sell. Now, the third step is the sales system. Once you create the content, obviously you gotta get them on a call, and then you sell them on a phone, right? And once you sell them, and then you deliver on the service, you're gonna understand what they need, what are the challenges, what was wrong with your offer in the beginning, and you keep making it better. So then when you go back to your offer, you make it better. Then you go make better content because now you're sharper with your messaging and your outbound. And then you're going to sell people much easier because your content's so much better. It's doing the heavy lifting for you. Then you're going to get more clients and you're going to make your offer better. So you see, it's this flywheel of constant iteration and improvement. So version 1 is not going to look pretty, but when you do this like 5 times, 10 times, and you get like 10 clients, it's going to become a machine and it's going to be so much easier for you to sell. So I'll give you an example of Yvonne, which is one of my clients who used this skill to brand system to make, now she's making about 7K per month, teaching people how to break in a high paying tech sales job, right? So her offer is really just helping people break in a tech sales job because she did that herself. And now she teaches other people on how to do that, right? So a lot of times your avatar, your ideal customer, is just your previous version of yourself. So once we had the offer, which we created in like pretty much a week, we went to the personal brand engine, which is just creating 5 pieces of content on LinkedIn every week and sending 40 connection requests on LinkedIn every week as well. If you're doing that, if you're posting 1 piece of content every day and you're reaching out to 40 people a day as well, 5 days a week, eventually you just get clients. And so within the first month of working with me, that's when she signed her first high ticket client. And speaking of sales, you know, the sales system that we created for her was literally just get on a call, follow the script, understand their pains, reflect it back as a solution, and just pitch them on the price, and they're going to buy. So she was just able to follow the entire roadmap from start to finish with no offer to getting her first high paying client in about 30 days. And then she got more clients. Then she started doing YouTube. And then, you know, she quit her full-time job to go all in on this coaching business. And she only really needed, you know, the first couple months she got to like 2 to 3K per month. And that's when she quit because that covered her living expenses. Then when she had more time to spend on her business, she got that up to 7K per month. Now, this all sounds very straightforward and simple, but I'm going to explain to you why most people miss this. So when you're looking at the skill to brand system, it's really just 3 steps, right? And it looks simple, and it is simple, but it feels very boring because it's so simple. A lot of times people watch YouTube and they just get distracted by the next shiny object thing, right? But in reality, if you really want to build a sustainable business and you want to make revenue and an income as fast as possible, just take the skills you have and sell it and learn how to sell. That's really the game. But most people, they want these like viral gimmicks. They want to get rich quick. They want to use AI to do all the work for them. And it's like, bro, like that, it's just gimmicks. People are just trying to, you know, make it seem easier than it is. I'm not saying like starting a business is easy, but it doesn't have to be complicated. And even with AI, to be honest, like, yes, there's a lot of hype around AI. However, it helps so much to make this process so much easier. So when I work with clients, right, and we try to figure out their offer, we're using AI to figure out, like taking all their skill sets, what is the best offer for them? And AI kind of synthesizes all the information into one offer. And then we kind of figure out, does that make sense? Can we do it? Is it viable? And then we take it from there. And when it comes to creating content, even for myself, I use AI all the time to write the scripts, come up with ideas, improve my thumbnails, you know, put my videos into ChatGPT and the transcripts and figure out ways to make it better for the next one. So with AI nowadays, it's like having an army of 5 full-time employees helping you out with the sales, the marketing, the delivery of the service, even creating the offer. So there's really no excuse. Like these days with AI, you can be a 1-person business, get to 10K per month within a year because you just have all this technology helping you out. And it's never been easier to sell people online. And the way I think about it is kind of like when you're training, right? So for me, I've been learning Muay Thai for the last like 5-6 months. And in the beginning, I was horrible. I was like not kicking that well. And, you know, it's kind of frustrating. And I would spar people and they would like basically beat my ass essentially. But I just kept showing up. I just kept training 3 to 5 times a week, even if I didn't feel like it, even if I didn't want to, even if my rib cage hurt, my abs, everything hurts, I still go and just keep practicing, right? Then after you do it for like 5 months, doing the same thing over and over, the same kicks, the same elbows, the same knees, you know, it's all the same thing over and over and over and over. Like I would go to the, you know, training and my coach would be like, all right, now we're going to do like, you know, 30 kicks in a row. And I just go, yeah. So yeah, it's repetitive, but then there's beauty in that because when you get really good at the fundamentals, then you start piecing everything together. And now when I spar people, it's like, I know how to fight, I know how to punch and elbow. And it's like, I'm not afraid anymore. Whereas in the beginning, when I didn't understand the fundamentals, like I was so nervous. So in business, it's really the same thing. It's just, have a fundamental understanding of your offer, have a fundamental understanding of how to create content that attracts your ideal customer, and have a fundamental understanding of how to sell them on a call. If you just master those 3 things, you will definitely make money. There's no way you're not. All right, if this is starting to click for you, And if you're realizing you've been sitting on a skill that you could literally use to replace your income, I want to invite you to sign up for our free Founder X training, where I'm going to help you figure out exactly how you can build your offer, build your personal brand, and sign high ticket clients step by step, all while keeping your 9-to-5 job. And if it makes sense, after you do watch the training, you can book a call directly with me, where we're gonna sit down together and come up with a growth plan on how you can actually make this happen. So if that sounds like something you're looking for, click the link in the description to sign up for that free training and learn exactly how you can do this for yourself, which is monetizing your skills, building your personal brand, and attracting high paying clients. So if you can really focus and do the boring things, you can actually build a business with your skills. And let me give you actually a great example of one of my clients, Tyler, who was able to do this. So when I started working with Tyler, right, he started out actually as a closer, and he was working, doing this like commission only fitness offer. And so literally on the first call that I had with him, he's like, bro, Patrick, I've done 10 sales calls and I'm 0 for 10. I haven't closed anything. I don't know if I'm gonna get fired from this job. And I'm like, okay, got it. Let's fix that, right? And then I asked him like, okay, like what do you want to do? He's like, well, I'm only doing the sales thing to like learn how to sell, but I really want to create my own offer, but I just don't know how, right? So basically he's like a freelance employee, a sales role, not making much money, commission only, and he wants to create his own thing and build his own business. So how can he actually do this if he's not even successful in sales? So here's what we did. Basically, first he joined the program, and then once he was in the program, the first thing I had him do was learn how to sell, right? Which is, the sales system, one of the pillars of the skill to brand system. Basically, he just went through my course on specifically the section on how to sell, wrote his own sales script, because the company he was working for didn't really provide much education and training around that. He literally just followed it. And then when we had one of our coaching calls, he's like, Patrick, I literally just followed your strategy to the T, and now I'm closing these deals like nothing. It's so easy. So then he started closing all these deals. So then we started talking about, okay, now you're making money in your sales job. Let's figure out how to make your own offer. He's like, well, what can I sell? So I asked him, like, what are your experiences in the past? Like, what have you done? And he said, well, now that I know how to close, thanks to you, that's one of my skill sets. But in the past, I've actually worked in the insurance business, helping people sell insurance. I kind of know a little bit of marketing, a little bit of Facebook, and now I know how to close. So I said, okay, let's just put it all together, right? And let's just help these insurance companies, get more leads and make more money. Like, as simple as that, right? So that we put an offer together using his skill set, his past experience, and his new skill of selling. And he's like, okay, but how do I get clients? And I said, okay, well, all the people that you worked with in the past, let's use your personal network first, right? That's the easiest way to get started. And then we can figure out like the content, building a personal brand, all that stuff. But like, who do you know that you can just like talk to and sell them? And he had a couple people on his list. And I said, okay, we're going to hit them all up. We're going to say these things. We're going to sell them. And then here's the pricing structure that we're going to have. And we're just going to do it. And so that's exactly what he did. Then he got his first few clients. And basically, within 60 days of working with me with this strategy, with barely any personal branding, okay, he was able to make $56K in 60 days doing this. And this is someone who went from, taking 10 sales calls at his sales job and closing none to making $56K in 60 days. So don't underestimate the skills you have, because it is valuable. You just haven't figured out how to package it the right way to get people to pay. So we understand that you need skills. We understand that we're going to use your past experience to turn these skills into an offer, right? And we're going to build a personal brand, and we're going to outreach people in order to get the clients. The thing I'm going to talk about next is what separates people from actually succeeding and hitting 10K plus per month, and the people that actually just fail. And that is going to be mindset. So most people don't fail because they don't have strategy or don't have tactics. It's really because they're very impatient. So you see all these supposed success and results online, right? People claiming that they're making like $1 million a month. And that FOMOs people into thinking like, oh, I want to do that too. But it kind of gets you suckered into believing this like overnight success, like it's so easy to do. And when you have that mentality of trying to get rich quick, you don't typically think long-term. And when you actually try to start a business, whether it's a course, consulting, coaching, it doesn't matter. You probably will just give up in the first 2 weeks because you're like, oh, I don't want to do outbound. Oh, I don't want to make content. So you don't need the perfect branding. You don't need the perfect offer. You don't even need the best content. What you need to do is actually execute and do the work. Every post you create, Every email or LinkedIn DM that you send is going to be a data point. Every call you have is going to be a data point, right? You might get 10 no's in a row before the 11th person buys. But if you're too impatient to accept those no's gracefully, you're just going to quit at the first moment of resistance. It's really just about consistency and patience and just doing the same thing over and over until you get the results that other people are not willing to do. And that is life, right? It's like going to the gym. Everybody wants to look fit. They want to have six-pack abs, but they don't. Why? Because they don't eat, right? And they just don't even show up to the gym, right? Like, how are you going to expect to have a six-pack if you're literally not going to the gym? But the people that lift the heaviest or they look aesthetically the best, all they're doing is just showing up multiple times a week. It's not even every day, to be honest, right? You need a rest day. It's just showing up consistently, doing the bench press over and over and over, dumbbells and all that stuff until you actually get the result that you want, and it just becomes normal. But in the beginning, from my experience, just talking to so many people who want to start a business and helping a lot of people start these businesses, the ones that fail are just impatient. They say, oh, I sent 100 cold emails, it doesn't work, I give up. Oh, I made 10 YouTube videos, it doesn't work, I gave up. That's why you're failing. That's why you don't get the reward. And that's why you're going to be stuck at your 9-to-5 job forever without a side income because you gave up. But the ones that just stick through it, it's like some people, they'll get results in 30 days. Some people, 60 days. Some people, it's going to take 6 months. For me, when I quit my job, I only made my first $1,000 online a year after I quit my job. And I used all my savings trying to, all these different business ideas. And I failed pretty much all of them until the last thing that really stuck, which was taking the skill I had, tech sales, and just teaching it online. So had I given up on month 3, month 6, month 8, month 11, I wouldn't be in the place I am now. I wouldn't be living in Vietnam. I wouldn't be even making this video for you. But because I stuck through it all the way into the end, to my last $200, I was able to build the life I actually wanted to live.